Welcome back, everyone. So for today, our penultimate Day 0 build, we have Vex'ahlia, Protector of the Wilds, a 6 hand size 29 health character with air, earth, and life as her symbols. Interestingly enough, the same 3 symbols as she had in her first run in Universes in the Challenger series. She also has Hunter, Vox Machina, and Warden as her character traits. As an enhance once per turn, we get to build one ally asset or ally backup from our card pool. If we did and it is our turn, we get to draw one card. So a little bit of clearing our progressive difficulty on either turn, and on our turn, we get to draw an additional card from it. And then response, flip one foundation. After your ranged or weapon attack is not blocked, unflip one foundation. So this is a really good effect, because if our rival can't or doesn't block our attacks, we get to turn one foundation face down that we're not using and unflip a very powerful one. And this is very synergistic with a lot of the earth support that we see in Heroes of Exandria. So what does Vex'ahlia want to do? She wants to take control of ally assets and backups, constantly looping them in order to reuse them, and she wants to unflip her most powerful pieces each turn. So let's get into her attacks. Obviously, we want to be playing ranged and weapon attacks. So we'll start with Alchemical Satchel Toss, a 4/3, 3 low for 5 with a 2 low block, powerful 2, which means as an enhance we can spend any number of momentum, and for each momentum spent, we get +2 damage. It also has ranged, tech, and weapon. As a response, after this attack is blocked, our rival commits 2 foundations. So let's say we don't use the powerful and it's just a 3 low 5. Our rival might not want to have to block this and commit 2 foundations. But if they don't block it, we get access to Vex'ahlia's response to unflip one of our key offensive or defensive foundations that we've already flipped. So it puts our rival in quite the quandary. We have Hunter's Ally. This is her ultra rare in the set. A 5/3, 4 high for 5 with a 2 mid block. Warden EX3, which means since we are a Warden, we get access to this EX3 ability, which EX3 is enhance, spend any number of momentum, and for each momentum spent, you get +3 speed. So kind of guaranteeing that this attack will not be blocked. It also has ally, ranged, and weapon. As a blitz, we get to build any ally card from our discard pile. And we'll see some pretty cool allies that we want to build in with this card. We have Instant Shining Flash, a 4/3, 4 high for 4 with a 1 low block, charged, ranged, and weapon. As an enhance, we get to flip one foundation. The next card we try to play this turn gets -1 to its difficulty, which is pretty useful. And we already see that we're going to be flipping foundations, so that we can flip a foundation to maybe unflip for later. And we'll see an example of some of those that we would want to do. Nice, Sam. And then response after we play this card, our rival spends 1 momentum. So that is a spend either if we play it as an attack, or even if we play it as a block, we're just getting rid of our rival's resources. Here's the big card, Storm of Arrows. This is her ultra rare from the Critical Role Challenger series. It's a 5/3, 4 high for 5 with a 2 mid block, Echo, ranged, spell, and weapon. Echo is a response keyword that says in response, spend 1 momentum. After this attack resolves, you may try to play it as your next form this turn from your card pool. If you do, flip it after it resolves. And we have a static ability that says we may spend weapon or we may clear weapon and ranged attacks from our card pool as though they were momentum to pay for this card's Echo ability. It's worded a little weird, but we are clearing a ranged weapon attack, so it has to have both of those keywords instead of spending our momentum to pay for this card's Echo ability. In short, for playing this on a 6 after we've played one attack, we can then respond to the Echo, clear a ranged and weapon attack from our card pool, and then play this on a 5. So we're clearing progressive difficulty while throwing another attack at our rival, which is really strong. And I will say, all of the attacks in this deck are ranged and weapon, so any of them can be used as the ammunition, the arrow, or the bullet for this Storm of Arrows ability. We have Bang Bang, a 4/3, 4 low for 4 with a 2 high block, ranged, tech, and weapon. As a blitz, if we have played at least one other attack this turn, this attack gets +2 damage. So very good there to land at the end of a string. A little bit extra damage there. And finally, Hunter's Arrow, a 3/3, 3 low for 3 with a 2 mid block, ally, ranged, and weapon. As a blitz, if we have a backup or an ally asset in our stage, this attack gets +1 speed and +1 damage. So, a little bit of stats. Turning this into a 4 low 4 as maybe our 4th or 5th attack, that could be pretty useful. And we have definitely some ally asset and backup cards that we want to play with this card. Speaking of assets, let's get into those. We have Fenthras, a 2/5, 2 mid-block asset, unique, vestige, and weapon. As an enhance, our ranged attack gets +1 speed for free. We just get 1 speed on all of our ranged attacks, which all of our attacks are ranged. And if we have an action in our card pool, we may change this attack's zone. We're not worrying about the action in the card pool. This is just to get a little bit of extra speed to make sure that our attacks go unblocked. Then as a response, we can commit Fenthras. After our ranged attack deals damage, our rival makes a check against a difficulty of 7. If they fail, they have to commit their character. So if their character has a very powerful defensive ability and our ranged attack deals damage, we can force them to either commit several foundations or commit their character. Kind of putting them in a tough spot there either way, which is always fun, especially if you're a player like me. Next we have anti-personnel vertical maneuvering equipment. Mouthful. It's a 2/5 with a 1 high block and the unique keyword. As an enhance, our ranged attack gets +1 speed and +1 damage. Kind of doubling up on the speed with Fenthras, but it also gives +1 damage. So having both of these can give you 2 speed and 1 damage on all of these attacks. Satchel becomes a 5 low 6. Hunter's Ally becomes a 6 high 6. Bang Bang can become a 6 low 5 and then a 6 low 7 with its own ability. So all of those stats will add up. Hunter's Arrow can become a 5 low 4 and then a 6 low 5 with its own ability. So just a little bit of stats that can really pile up. And then as a response, we commit this card. After our attack deals damage to a character, we commit 1 rival foundation. Again, kind of giving up the stats, but to commit our rival's best piece that's giving us trouble. But the main star of the show is Trinket. Trinket is a good bear. A 2/5 with a 2 low block, ally, and unique, so it is an ally asset. Important. Enhance, add this card to your card pool from your stage. This attack gets +4 damage. Yikes. That is very powerful. Or, enhance, add this card from your stage to your card pool. This attack gets -4 damage. -4 damage to your rival's attack. That's huge. And if your character is Vex'ahlia, add this card to your hand after this attack resolves. So the really crazy thing about Trinket is we can put it up into our card pool for +4 damage, and then immediately build it back down with Vex'ahlia and draw a card. And then put it up again on our next attack to give it another 4 damage. That's +8 damage over a turn cycle. Or we, on our rival's turn, put it up for -4 damage, and then build it down with Vex'ahlia. And then on our rival's next attack, put it back into our card pool for -4 damage, and then after that attack resolves, we just add Trinket back to our hand. So we are always going to have Trinket. As soon as we see one in our stage, we will always have Trinket for plus up to 8 damage on our turn, or -8 damage on our rival's turn. And that's not including if we choose to block with Trinket as well, a 3rd attack. So Trinket is absolute value town in this version of Vex'ahlia. For actions, I chose a fun one that I don't think sees enough play, Ruthless Mockery. Kind of like Vicious Mockery in D&D. A 1/5 with a 3 mid block and the taunt keyword. As a response, after we block with this card, our rival's attacks get -2 damage for the rest of the combat phase. And then we have to remove this card after it leaves our card pool. So if our rival's a string character, this is -2 damage on every attack, including the attack we block, because this happens on block before damage. So if we partial block with this, we are taking less damage. So this can be minus a whole bunch of damage, especially with Trinket. Can you imagine -6 damage between this and Trinket on over two different attacks? That's insane. And then we have a second enhance, so we have to play this enhance second during an enhance step. We remove this card, this attack gets +2 damage, and if it has taunt, draw one card and it gains stun 1. We are never going to be using that ability unless we absolutely need a little bit of extra damage, because none of our attacks have taunt, so we cannot get the full value from it. But that defensive response for -2 damage on every attack our rival throws during their turn, combined with the massive damage reduction that we get from Trinket and other foundations, is huge. And then for backups, I chose Jarrett Howarth. Hope I'm saying that right. A 4/4, 5 stamina backup with a +2 high block, unique ally, party, and warrior. While it is in our stage, our character is a warrior, which is cool, I guess. As a response, we can add this card to our card pool. After our weapon attack is blocked, we add it to our hand. So, Jareth is an ally backup. So if we play an attack and it's blocked, obviously we're not getting Vex'ahlia's ability, so we can use Jareth, add him to our card pool from our stage to pick that attack back up and play it again. And then have Vex'ahlia build Jareth back into our stage to draw a card, and then if they block it again, do it again, and we turn one attack into 3 while drawing a card. We have to do it with a little progressive difficulty, but it's manageable. But what's really cool is this is a on block ability. This activates when your attack is blocked, specifically before it resolves. If you play an attack, any of these attacks, then you play Storm of Arrows, and you use Storm of Arrows to echo, clear that attack from your card pool, so that Storm of Arrows is the only card in your card pool, and your rival blocks it, before it flips itself, because it flips after it resolves, before it flips itself, you can use Jareth to pick it back up again. And then just play a third attack, build Jareth down, draw a card, and then Storm of Arrows again, effectively turning, 3 attacks into 6? Initial attack, Storm of Arrows, Echo. Second attack, Storm of Arrows, Echo. Turning 3 attacks into 6. That is huge. And if you're adding speed from Fenthras or anti-personnel vertical maneuvering equipment, you're going to put your rival into a very precarious position. And that is just really a really cool line. Every now and then I try to make a Storm of Arrows deck, usually off the air symbol. I've chosen life as our symbol today. And I really dig this line. I really dig this ability to loop cards like Storm of Arrows with Jarrett and kind of just really punish my rival for not letting me shoot them in the face with an arrow. And they just have to think, okay, is blocking this one attack to give them an attack and a draw because of being able to build in Jareth worth not letting them unflip one foundation? So again, putting your rival into these tough decisions they have to make, because also Vex'ahlia's response is not once per turn. We can flip and unflip any number of foundations as many times as our rival chooses not to block our attacks. So really, really cool. And then we have Riani, a 4/4, 2 mid block, 5 stamina, unique ally party warden. As a static, while this card is in our stage, our character is a warden, which we already are. As a first enhance, so the first enhance that we want to do in any given enhance step we commit Riani and flip any of our foundations to unflip any of our foundations. So flipping and unflipping kind of really goes with Vex'ahlia and other Warden type abilities. So let's get into the different tricks we can do with this. Starting with Shape Changer's skill. A 2/5 with a 3 mid block. As an enhance, we can flip one foundation. Our attack gets +1 speed. Pretty good, especially since if our rival can't block it because it's too fast, we're just going to unflip whatever we want. And as a response, after this card is unflipped, draw one card. We can flip Shape Changer's skill for its own enhance to gain a speed, and if our rival didn't block that attack, we can then unflip Shape Changer's skill after flipping another foundation to draw an extra card. What's not to like? We have Wild Healing, a 2/5 with a 3 high block and the spell keyword. As a response, after this card is unflipped, gain 1 health. A little bit of health gain never hurt anybody. And then response commit, after we flip one or more foundations, gain 2 health. Just a little bit of emergency healing to really make the most of our 29 health here. But my favorite of the new unflip cards has got to be Woodland Distraction. This is a 1/6 with a 2 low block, and its response is Tenacious, which means it is playable while this card is committed. After this card is unflipped, your rival commits a foundation. So unlike Wild Healing and Shape Changer skill, who have to be ready in order to be getting their responses when they're unflipped, we can just flip Woodland's Distraction, commit it to pass a check, and then unflip it, and our rival still has to commit a foundation, which means it's going to be harder to block things, which means we're going to unflip things more, and we can just reflip and unflip Woodland's Distraction again, because it doesn't say flip one foundation, unflip a different foundation. So we can just constantly flip and unflip Woodland Distraction each time our attack hits to further commit our rival's board, or flip and unflip it with Riani. I mean, likewise, we can flip and unflip Shape Changer skill, so we can just flip it for Vex'ahlia and then unflip it to draw a card anytime we want. We're basically just using these types of foundations to constantly put ourselves in a better position. We have Desperate Plea, a 1/4 with a 2 mid block. Response flip after you block. Build the card you blocked with face up or face down. So this is pretty cool. We can block with an attack and build it face down. We can block with a trinket and build it face up. So imagine after we give -4 damage, build it back in. Give -4 damage, that second attack resolves, pick it up, pick up trinket after it resolves, and then block with it on the third attack, build it back in, and then we could put it back up for another -4. There's so much damage reduction in this deck. It is insane, and I love it. Next we have Mikasa defeats the Female Titan, a 2/4 with a 3 low block. Response flip, after you block an attack, that attack deals no damage. So this is another really cool one to unflip, because it means that we'll always take no damage as long as we can block an attack, even if we partial block it. We have Uplifting Bond, a 3/5 with a 3 high block. Response once per turn after we play an attack, we get to gain 1 health. And if that attack deals damage, it does not count towards progressive difficulty this turn. Here's the cool thing. We can respond, Uplifting Bond, gain a health. And that's once per turn. But then we can, as our first enhance, use Riani, commit Riani, flip Uplifting Bond, and then unflip Uplifting Bond, and it resets itself. So then the next attack we play, we can gain a health, and if that attack deals damage, it doesn't count towards progressive. So between Uplifting Bond and clearing our card pool with Storm of Arrows, we can drastically reduce the progressive difficulty we're playing on, and really make it easy to pass a whole bunch of our checks. And with Shape Changer skill allowing us to draw more cards, it's going to be really easy to string out with Shape Changer skill, with Jarrett. We're just going to make it real easy to draw a whole bunch of cards and play, 5, 6, 7 attacks even in one turn, as long as we see them, of course. And some of them are Storm of Arrows. Next we have a trinket for Vex. Look at that adorable little fur ball. It's a 2/5 with a 2 mid block. Enhance flip. Your attack gets +2 damage. If you have an ally card in your stage, it gets +3 damage instead. So we can flip this for +3 damage if we have Trinket, Jareth, or Riani in our stage. Well, it says ally card, so if we had any ally foundations, which we don't, but if we did, it also counts ally foundations. So a little bit of extra damage buff there. Or enhance remove, spend 1 momentum. Build 1 copy of Trinket from your discard pile. We're trading a foundation for the asset that gets the most value in our deck. I see no problem there, because then we can immediately start giving damage minuses, damage buffs, draw cards with Vex'ahlia, all over the place. This is such a strong card here for this Vex'ahlia. More defense, we have Keiko's Aid, a 2/5 with a 3 high block. Response flip after your rival blocks an attack, or after you block an attack, excuse me, your rival's next attack gets +2 difficulty. So just saying, stop that. We have Fast Friendship, a 1/5 with a 3 high block. Enhance flip, this attack gets -2 speed, but if we have more face down foundations than our rival, it gets -3 speed instead. With the amount of flip, and even with the amount of unflip that we're doing, we're likely going to have fewer foundations unless our rival's doing something similar to us. So we're going to give -3 speed a lot. We have Defend the City, a 2/6 with a 1 high block. Response Tenacious, or playable while committed. Flip, after you commit any number of cards due to a rival effect, build the top card of your deck face down. So if we are stunned, if our rival has selective committal, we always build in an extra foundation. And maybe it's something like Woodland Distraction that we would want to unflip. It's already flipped for us. A win-win. Hard to Kill. So this is another really cool trick that Vex gets to take advantage of. It's a 2/5 with a 2 low block. Response, Outwit. So, Outwit was introduced in Attack on Titan Origins of Power. It is a response trigger that happens when this card is face down and ready in your stage. So the trigger is after you take damage, you would use Outwit to unflip Hard to Kill and then commit it to gain 2 health. So as long as this card is already face down and ready when the response of you take damage, that's what triggers it, you can then just unflip it to gain 2 health. And then you can flip it with Vex'ahlia or Riani or Shapeshifter skill, so that the next time you take damage, you can just gain 2 health again. It's ridiculous, and each Outwit has its own trigger, so if you have 2 of these face down and you take 5 damage, you can just heal 4 health, as long as that 5 didn't reduce you to 0. But combine this with Ruthless Mockery, with Trinket, and you are just not dying. It is so cool. Another Outwit, Adapting the Plan, a 2/5 with a 3 high block. Response, Outwit, so as long as this card is face up or face down and ready, when your rival reduces the speed of your attack, you may unflip and commit Adapting to the Plan to get +4 speed. And then you can just flip it again with one of your triggers, and as long as it is ready and face down, your rival's just not allowed to reduce your speed, because you can make your attack practically unblockable, and then flip it again because of Vex'ahlia, and it's just so much value that you can get. There aren't a lot of Outwit cards out there right now, but this is a character who can absolutely abuse them if she gets a chance. We have Clasp Membership, a 0/5 with a 3 high block. Response flip, after you partially block an attack, gain 2 health. I'm going to partially block with Ruthless Mockery, reduce your attack by 2 damage, and then I'm going to gain 2 health on top of that. Just for funsies. We have Shameless Haggler, a 2/5 with a 2 low block. Enhance flip, discard 1 card, draw 1 card and gain 2 health. Then your rival may draw 1 card and gain 2 health. And if they do, you get to draw 1 card and gain 2 health. So even if you're ahead, you can play this offensively and let your rival draw a card and gain 2 health, and possibly get 2 cards and 4 health while you're stringing out, while you're reducing your progressive difficulty, while you're flipping and unflipping cards like Uplifting Bond, and just go to town. And lastly, Syndicate Target, a 0/6 with a 0 low block. As a static, if we block with it, we lose a health, but it's still one of the best blocks in the game for that 0 low, and it's got a 6 check, which is also really good. But that is Vex'ahlia, Protector of the Wild. I really like this character. I love all of her moving parts. I love all the damage reduction. I love all the damage bonuses. I love the minigame of kind of a bit of 3-card Monty, kind of like Scanlan, where it's like flipping and unflipping your foundations, trying to find the right pieces that you need. And because of her ability to use cards that have Outwit, it's flipping those to keep them for later, and then unflipping things to use in the immediate. So you're almost never without a bonus somewhere, and it's just so cool. But yeah, this is a character I'm really interested to check out as soon as I get 4 copies of Hunter's Ally, because I think she's going to be really, really fun. But what do you guys think? Are you a fan of Vex'ahlia, Protector of the Wild? If you are, please like the video. If you enjoyed the video, leave it a like, and please consider subscribing if you haven't already. I could use all the support I can get, and we are almost done with our day 0 builds, my friends. We only have 1 character left, and that character will see you tomorrow. Until then, take care.